All right. Hey everyone, it's Emily. For those who are just seeing this for the first time, I am starting this channel because I wanted to share my journey in following Christ and God. And if you have seen my other channel, you may recognize me. I do have a crocheting business, hence the scarf and the yarn behind me. But for this channel, hopefully I'll have a different backdrop so you're not seeing yarn all the time. Or maybe I'm recording in the car or while I'm out walking. Because what better way to be in nature than to do that, talk about it. So to give a quick intro to me for those who don't know me from my other channel, I am getting up there closer to 30 as the years pass. I'm not quite there yet, but I will be soon. And I have two little girls. The oldest is going to be starting homeschool this year. So I have all that paperwork together and been praying on it and everything else, of course. But now to go into why I chose the name Rooted Woman Growing Mother is I want to be more rooted in the word, and I'm growing as we all are in our journeys, be it motherhood, fatherhood, priesthood, we'll say, anything and everything. So being that I have two kids, I have learned quite a bit, but I am still learning because as they get older, I'm going to learn from them and they're going to learn from me. So the channel here isn't so much about me as it is more about, what I'm learning. And I love being able to talk every so often about my thoughts, my feelings. And my husband is one person in particular who doesn't always like to hear that kind of stuff, especially after a long day at work. So I thought this would be a great way to help get things off my chest. Maybe I can learn something from you guys, or you can learn something from me, and we'd be better for it. So, other than that, like I said, like I'm trying to come across here, I'm not trying to be a Bible expert in any way. But everyone's welcome, and I take criticism, so I'm not going to be butthurt if you have something to say. But one thing in particular, again, this ties in with the name of the channel. I wanted to read real quick Jeremiah chapter 17, verses 7 through 8. So let me find it real quick. And I got this new Bible too. To share a quick little backstory, we've been struggling a little bit financially, and I've been talking over it and praying over it. I've had some pastors pray over it as well with me and over my husband. But I put a list together for Facebook friends and family, and I did not expect anyone to buy this for my husband and I, but someone did. And while it's technically supposed to be a Christmas present, I've been using it because I am just anxious too. I could not wait another couple weeks. So I'm excited nonetheless and thankful. So 7 and 8 says, "Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord and whose hope is the Lord. For he shall be like a tree planted in the waters, which spreads out its roots by the river, and will not fear when heat comes, but its leaf will be green, and will not be anxious in the year of drought, nor will cease from yielding fruit." So you've got a life rooted in self versus God. And for a while there, I was rooted in like my own ordeals. And then, over time, I was raised in church for a couple years. The family walked away from it, just scheduling conflicts and whatnot, work. And then I decided when I was able to drive, I wanted to go to church. And I did not understand the word whatsoever. But while I did enjoy the pastor that my family church had, sometimes it was very hard to hear or comprehend what he was saying. So while I did enjoy it, I struggled quite a bit until recently. So since then, I have been saved and baptized again and all that good stuff. So it's more or less just anyone who's fully trusting in the Lord, you're spiritually stable, continually nourished, unafraid of seasons of hardship, and consistently fruitful. So I think the third bullet point there, being unafraid of seasons of hardship, even before I found my way back to the Lord, I would be like, okay, what needs to happen? I would think with a clear mind to some degree, because I think it's just more or less, I've always been uncomfortable growing up, and so I'm kind of used to it. So while I do want the best for my kids, but anyhow, my husband, on the other hand, he gets very closed up and starts, I don't know if irrational is the right word, but he starts getting worked up, I guess, would be a better way to put it. He gets worked up, and then I'm sitting there, and I'm the only person who ever is able to calm him down. And then I say, we need to do these steps in order to get to the other side of this. And while that has worked up until this point, I still do that, but I've added in speaking over our finances, our prosperity, and wealth, and just praying over it as well. And that's where the church that my kids have been attending ties in, because I've talked to a couple of different pastors there, and they've been very, very helpful. So, otherwise, the reason I wanted to come back was I just wanted to better understand, who Jesus is and who God is and why so many people follow the word. But more than anything else, I need to practice grace, not perfection, as I'm sure so many of us do. So, and just to kind of give you a quick background on who I've been listening to, there's a handful of different ministries, and I'm currently in, I want to say, 2 different Bible studies, soon to be another one on after I'm done with these first 2. But the first one I had started was by a pastor by the name of Barron Greenwalt, who is a pastor of Joy Ministries, which I will be putting his information down in the description of the video so that you guys can find him. He is local to me. He does attend the same church that my daughters do, that I'm now been attending for a while. And I was part of his home group for Bible study for this book. And while we did not finish it because it's now middle of December, we still kind of talk about it, I guess, here and there. But with reading his book, Deliberate Steps, and with attending the home Bible group, so many of my questions have been answered, and I couldn't even tell you how many questions there were. But just listening to everyone's stories and how they came to their current path in following Christ, it just amazes me how so many people can have so many different backgrounds but come to the same place, if that makes sense. So this is the book, and again, like I said, I will be getting links for you guys, but here's a little bit of a closer look here without the glare so much. But that's that. And then actually, where did it go? It's underneath here. With his book, you can also order the study guide, and it has questions in it. Now, at first, I wasn't sure I wanted to write in this because it is such a nice layout he has of this study guide. But let's see if I can share with you something. This one, growing through struggle. Trials refine us, growing our faith. How has a past difficulty made you stronger or closer to God? What growth do you hope to see from your current quote unquote fire? So he has a section here. It's That question pertains to his chapter 5, which is trusting God through the fire, overcoming, growing, and testifying. And that's why fire is in quotations like that. But I responded with that by saying, I want to be the shining Proverbs 31 woman, much like my grandmother was, my late grandmother, I should have wrote. But anyhow, in the past, I struggled understanding how she was so giving and caring with people that treated her poorly. But as I grow closer to God, I've begun to see much clearly why. Currently, I'd love to continue to grow and understand what I read and study and hopefully bring my husband back to the Lord as well. So I didn't explain it in full detail because I don't really have the room for it in the book. But basically, the difficulty was where we lost my grandmother in a tragic way, a way that no family should have to. And it happened on Christmas Eve a few years ago. But like I wrote down, she was a very caring and giving individual. She helped people, even strangers, whether that was part of her job as a nurse or if she saw them at Sheetz and their cards were declining for gas. I'm sure she helped pay for gas every so often, or just something small like that. And every so often I was with her, so I did get to witness her being kind to others. And I didn't necessarily question her thoughts on doing that for others. I knew why she was doing it, but just the fact of having lost her in a tragic way, for a while I struggled to really do day-to-day tasks. And then I happened to get my other Bible, which I won't show right now, but the Bible I had before this New Spirit-Filled Life Bible was gifted to me the same Christmas we lost her. So I could not open that Bible for a little over a year. And when I finally did open that Bible, one of the first things I read was Proverbs 31. And while it was a struggle, I got through it, and then I'd close it, the Bible that is. And then maybe a month later, I'd open it again, read the same chapter in Proverbs, and just continue with it over and over until eventually I was like, okay, now what do you want me to do? And from there, I've decided to go to the church that my daughters attend with my mother-in-law, and I've really been enjoying it. And it's, like I said, it's been an eye-opener in so many ways. It's helped me answer questions. And I took the initiative. So my grandparent-in-laws, they like to listen to Ken and Gloria Copeland and Denise and Rick Renner and Jerry Savelle. But the three thus far that I listen to that they don't necessarily agree with is Joyce Myers, Real Talk Kim, if you're familiar with her, and like I mentioned, Barron Greenwalt, along with the church pastor, Pastor Andy, we call him. So just to kind of show you some stuff that I've been finding through Facebook ads, in case you guys have not come across those, or ladies. First of all, the first study I've been doing besides Barron's book is this right here. This has some age to it. This is the book I'm borrowing from my in-laws. It is the New Testament, it's King James Version, and it's Ken Copeland's Personal Notes edition. And you can see this has some wear to it, but this doesn't look as bad as my grandmother-in-law's book on the spine, but you can tell they've used them quite a bit. And just to show you, this is what captivated me, was all of this. So these are all Ken's notes, personal notes. And he has lines drawing through stuff to like point out what ties in with what, and he has arrows to things and whatnot. And it's cool to see, which I actually need to look at these a little more as I am reading through. Right now, I'm currently, I think, at the Grace of Giving down here at the bottom of this page. So they give you foundation scriptures, which for some reason Grace of Giving does not have any. but he has different points there, and then it goes into like the next section would be 4 steps to victory by the grace of God. And then the foundation scriptures shown there are Hebrews 4:16 and Acts 20:32. So just something to show you for that. And then, so that did not come in the mail, but I don't have everything up here right now. I know there's a few pieces missing. And I think it may actually be because my in-laws are borrowing them. But I'm double checking, make sure that's not the only case. No, I think that is. So, excuse me. So actually what I got today that made me want to pop on and record were these 2 booklets, we'll call them. This is Ken Copeland's and this is Gloria's. And while I have not had a chance to sit down and really read them yet, I like that they give these out for free. I enjoy it. I did sign up for their Victory catalog magazine. And then I don't know that I necessarily agree with Joyce on some things, but I'm willing to listen, willing to read what she has. So I had also purchased this. So this came in the mail a while ago. And while I have been reading some of it every so often, I might have to just start over for whenever I am ready to dig deeper into studying Proverbs. But that's what this book is based on, is she breaks it down each chapter. So I wanted to show you guys that as well. If you guys have any other people that you listen to that have ministries, you're more than welcome to share with me. I'm willing to take up an ear with just about anybody. As far as Rick and Denise go, I listen to them on Facebook when they're live, or there's a couple things that my in-laws have that I'll borrow from time to time. And then Jerry Savelle, there are YouTube videos out there where it's his voice being recorded, and they have like lyric videos, I guess we'll call it. And that's actually pretty nice because you can just play it in the car, listen to it while you're driving. And I actually did that one day when he was, my husband and I were driving out of state for something for a couple hours a few weeks ago, and I found a video that morning before we left the house where Jerry Savelle was talking about prosperity. And I listened to it for a couple minutes, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to listen to anymore because I'm going to listen to it with my husband. And mind you, my husband's like, why are we listening to this driving down the road? He seemed a little annoyed, but after a while, that kind of expression and that attitude melted away a little bit after I did some explaining, saying, you know, I haven't even listened to this yet, so don't take it the wrong way like I'm trying to force anything, but just know that I think this is good because we need to hear this right now with what we're going through. So that's all I have. If you guys have any questions at all, or any pastors, ministries you recommend, let me know down below, and we will see you next week.